Risk taker, businessman, sports and entertainment promoter, and passionate about making Florida the best place to live, shop, work, and play. It's time for the Joe Mullins Radio Show.
Hello, Florida. This is Joe Mullins of the Live, Work, Shop, Play Show. And yes, you hear a little bit more excitement in my voice because we are at the 4th of July pre-weekend celebration. So many people are starting to go and meet with their families, go to their destination points, which a lot of them are headed to Florida. And it's very exciting because this is one of our most patriotic times of the year, especially with the week we had last week, where we saw America engage in some major military action and really literally blow up our expectations. Unbelievable what occurred and happened. But that is some of the things that have made this country the greatest country in the world and the best country to live, work, shop, play in, and celebrate faith, family, and freedom. So with me this weekend, I've got two very special guests. I've got Daryl Welk with Media Made Fresh. Daryl, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. I'm happy to be here.
And to our listeners, a lot of the media stuff you get, a lot of the graphic stuff you get, a lot of the wonderful things that have just really catapulted this show to go from Jacksonville all the way to Sarasota and beyond, online stream listening, and soon to be Miami. Dara's company, Media Made Fresh, out of Jacksonville, Florida, has been one of the biggest key components to making this show grow into the big show that it has today. And my second guest with me is no other than a guy that's been on the show several times. I kind of favor him a little bit in many different ways, not just favor him and like him, but he kind of looks like me. It's my beautiful son, Jesse Mullins. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Jesse, are you excited to be on the show today?
Yes, I indeed am.
Tell our listeners now, how old are you and where you live normally?
I'm 10 years old, and I usually am down in Augusta.
But he's down with his dad this summer visiting, and we're having a good time. And we've done a lot of fun things this summer. Jesse, are you looking forward to 4th of July?
Yeah. 2025 felt like it was yesterday. It's gone by quick.
It really is. Now, let's talk, Dara, about family, faith, and freedom. So we'll talk a little bit about family first. What does family mean for you and the coworkers and the people you have? And who do you define as family? Is it just immediate blood relatives, or is it friends? Is it the people you work with? What do you call it as a business here and as an individual?
It's definitely everybody that I encounter. I was just talking with my dad about this, that, we believe that some people go to church and they join, church groups and they help mentor those people in those groups. But then there's other people like Pastor Jay, like myself and my husband, Sean, who really minister and kind of help mentor the people that are in our lives every day. It's our employees, it's our friends, it's their kids. It takes a community and a village to raise up good humans. And so that's what we do. And this time of year, we really get a chance to celebrate the family. I think what's going on in the world is kind of helping us really appreciate everyone that we have, because we have no clue what can happen tomorrow. And so it's really it's all of those things. Everybody that we encounter is our family.
Well, there is a tremendous amount of concern in our world today. Will Iran retaliate? Will other countries retaliate? Will we have another 9/11 occur? But, 4th of July was a very strong message that we sent and celebrated. We were under the rule of England. England was dominant over us. People moved over here to the United States and they said, no more. We want to be able to have freedom of religion. We want to be able to have freedom to be with our families and do things with our families and raise them the way we want to. And we want to be able to practice and have faith in God and practice freely. And really, America was designed, a lot of people don't realize that, it was designed on the faith part. So, but, talking about the family is so crucial. I'm curious, Jesse, for a 10-year-old, what does family mean to you?
Family is everything for me. It's the one thing that I would die for. I would kill for family. That is what I care about most in my life.
Now, I don't know that we need to be killing for family at 10 years old, but I do know what you mean by it. Now, tell me your typical 4th of July day, what you look forward to and why this is an exciting time of the year for you.
It's exciting because I get to spend time with family.
Now, do you realize the sacrifices and the history that came with Independence Day and 4th of July? Do they teach that to you in school? Have they done that? You're in what grade?
I'm in fourth grade. Yes, they taught it to me, and yeah, I've learned about some stuff like a lot of stuff like the the Boston Massacre. Learned about that. That was the thing that happened.
The Boston Tea Party, and then so many of the other. I know you're a little. It's summertime, and I don't want you worried about school. But you understand that it was our country stepping out and saying we want to be independent of any other rule and any other people telling us that. So you do understand it's a little bit more than just a holiday where there's picnics. Now, what's your favorite food on the 4th of July?
Everything. Oh.
You like barbecue or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Sarah, what is your favorite food? I got to ask you that. Are you looking forward to the barbecue or the hamburgers?
Oh, I'm looking forward to hamburgers too.
Now, you guys know that hot dogs play a part, too. I believe they do the big Nathan's hot dog.
Nathan's hot dogs.
The big Nathan's hot dog thing. And that guy, Joey has won it so many times, eating 50-something hot dogs. Dara, can you imagine sitting at a table eating 50 hot dogs on the 4th of July?
No, his name is Joey Chestnut, and I cannot imagine it, but I do absolutely love to watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I think it is very fascinating just how those people prepare for it. I saw a woman that was on there that was actually a dentist. And so there's all kinds of people that participate in it. It is very broad and strange in a subculture that I am fascinated by.
Now, Jesse, what is your take on eating all those hot dogs? Would you ever get in a competition like that?
If it was for drinking water, then yes. But anything else, no.
You wouldn't eat 50 hot dogs in one time?
Never. I never.
Just a few years back, we had COVID going on, and it was kind of a reminder. As a commissioner, I had many people say we need to shut down everything and close it. And I came out very strongly and said, there's no way. They started screaming, we want to close the beach. And I said, there's no way we're going to close this beach. I said, my families and all of our forefathers stormed a beach so we could walk freely on them. And no one could ever take that away from us. But just back then, a few years ago, they were pushing that we weren't going to celebrate 4th of July. We were going to cancel fireworks celebrations. Dara, what does that mean to you, having the fireworks? And how did that make you feel back then when they were saying America was not going to celebrate its Independence Day the way we used to?
It made me feel very sad because I am actually a descendant, 5th generation Floridian. My family were persecuted Huguenots that came, from Europe, like you talked about, wanted to practice their own form of Christianity. And I think about what they went through, that sacrifice, that unknown of conquering that. And when we do that on the beach, it's like a celebration of like, we're here, we're still here, and we're still happy and doing what we came to do, right? And so if they take that away from us, it really does take away a lot of that heritage and tradition that we have been celebrating.
You bring up a good point with the immigration drama that's going on, and we've done a lot of shows on immigration, and we'll be doing more. People go, well, America has the freedom to come over here, and, what if we stopped the people back then and the Indians? I'm American Native Indian. I'm Cherokee Indian, so I do have a grandmother that was full-blooded. What if they would have stopped us coming in? Because I do have Irish and Italian descent. And my comments always to people, this is different. This is not coming in. It's getting a structure to come in. It's getting people that aren't going to come in and destroy our country, having cartels come in and move drugs and different things like that, having to worry about our kids walking in a park in college and being murdered. Immigration, do you think that is a big message this time of year for us to realize that immigration is an important issue? It shouldn't be banned, but it should be redefined in a way that is safe for everyone and doesn't hurt our country. What are your thoughts on that, Dara?
Absolutely. I agree that we do need to have an inclusive mindset. We do need to embrace that. We need to create a system and an infrastructure that allows for people to do that. And if it has to be at a greater scale, then we need to figure out how we can make that happen. There's a lot. I feel like we went through a phase where Americans wanted big homes, and now everybody's downsizing. Everybody wants smaller, and they're living more modestly. And that actually is going to create an opportunity for us to be more open in our borders. But we do have to make sure that the intent of those people coming in is good, right? And that's what you were just touching on, is that before, the intent was good. Everybody was coming with that Christian mindset, that good mindset, at least a helpful mindset. Not everybody did the right thing. A lot of people did some really terrible things when they immigrated here. And that's what we're trying to control now. We couldn't do it back then, but if we create a better system, we can actually stop the bad people from coming in and doing those things like slavery and all of that not everybody embraced,
Yeah, I agree so wholeheartedly. There's so much that we need to look at and deal with, and that our country's dealing with. But fireworks are a big important, and a lot of the people don't realize those resemble and respond and supposed to represent the bombs bursting in air when we were fighting for our freedom and fighting for our lives. And Jesse, how important are fireworks, and how much do you enjoy the fireworks during 4th of July?
I love them. They're amazing, and they're very important.
Do you realize that the fireworks resemble what just happened last week? That sometimes you need to see an explosion or see force to be able to keep your freedom out there and freedom out front?
Yes, I do.
Talking about that and seeing it last week, I hate military action. I'm not one that ever wants to see us ever gauge it or do it. But, Darryl, last week we saw the military drop some bombs in Iraq. We saw some aggressive stuff. There's some people that totally understand it. They don't want that nuclear threat. Iran was definitely working on nuclear weapons that, to me, aren't bombs. It's unbelievable. They're like dropping poison into a water to hurt people. They're very extreme. But we had to go over and use force. What is your thoughts that this message sends around 4th of July?
Well, I think that it's a message for people to understand that we are going to defend our freedom, and that sometimes it gets messy, and it's not necessarily something that we all support. But as Americans, we stand firm in our faith. We stand firm in defending our country, and also defending other people, especially Israel. I mean, to me, it's really a battle of good versus evil. And we've got to just stand firm that we trust our leaders, we trust our president, and we trust what they're doing, and we pray for them.
Now, a few of our listeners, some of the extremists, have said that America has no business in this foreign issue, that we should not be over there dabbling in it. The president came back out and said, we absolutely do. They've got nuclear weapons that they're making. They've got plants they're making, and they're planning on using this to hurt our society. Whether they have long-range or missiles that don't reach America, how serious is it that we do not allow an extreme nation that has shown a track record of not caring who they kill, pushing for their religion, saying that they have a right to do things, and they really hoarding a lot of the people that were responsible for 9/11. How important do you think it is that we got involved with that?
I think it's important because it's not just Iran. It's not one country that we're fighting. Like I said previously, it's that good versus evil. There's, they're funding they've been in power since 1979, this regime, and they're funding all of these different things like Hamas and Hezbollah. And so if it's really stopping that from happening, because that stuff seeps into the video games that our children are playing. It seeps into our society. anxiety in other ways. And so that it's like it's just a virus that's kind of going out through the world that is impacting us. And we may not be declaring that we're at war, but we have been in a lot of ways through technology, through other entities like that. And so we have to defend ourselves, and we have to stand up for it, or it will become greater than the good.
Now, some people say that this is a religious war, that faith and religion have a part in this. 4th of July, there's no doubt part of our existence was to be able to practice religion freely. But, you talk about religion in America and you talk about religion overseas. We're told in some of the countries we go to, we cannot wear a cross. We have to hide our cross. We have to take it off. America's not like that. What does faith mean to you this time of year? And how do we put that out there and say, listen, guys, we're either going to allow other countries to define our faith or we're going to define it? What does that mean to you?
I'm okay with telling people that I'm a Jesus freak. I love Jesus Christ. I think that it's important for us to profess our faith. Leaving corporate world allowed me to bring faith into my work and everything that I do. I feel it is more important for Christians to be bold with their faith right now, to not hide it, and to actually be okay with defending their position, because it is super important to what you just said. It's so easy for them to change how we feel or to define how we feel. And everyone should have that. No one should be in fear of who they love or all these different things. We should just all be peaceful, loving, and accepting. And if we can somehow generate that through this war, I don't know how, but I pray that God can do that. That somehow peace and acceptance and love and unity comes out through this.
Dara, I agree totally. You got to have God, and God's a very strong factor. And for the Islam and all that, they're talking about God. And I think that so many people have taken religion and spun it around and misconfused it. They think, okay, my God's better than your God. And I think we're going to get to a point one day where we realize God is God. And It's the same one. It's just so many people have spun it, have turned around and said, oh, I've got my way of practicing it. Everybody else should be our way. And that's what America's about. America's about being able to practice and freely have God the way you need him in your life and want him. And not all of us had that in the beginning. I certainly didn't have him in the way I needed him. I had him in the way I wanted him. And very quick, my life taught me I better get God the way I need him and quit worrying about the way I want him. And I needed him in everything I do. So, and I'm very thankful that the wars and the stance that America did in 1776 and prior and even past gave us that freedom, because people don't realize we could lose that freedom very quick. And these bombs, they can get in our water system. They can get in it's just like COVID. This stuff can travel. It can create diseases. It can travel and come into our country. I like America being proactive, not reactive. I don't ever want to see another 9/11. Right. I love the fact that we are getting proactive with stuff like that. Now let's talk about 4th of July in America and in Florida. Where's your favorite place to celebrate 4th of July and see fireworks in Jacksonville?
Well, being in Atlantic Beach, it truly is amazing. We have Atlantic Beach Golf and Country Club, but there are only, I think it's Florida law, if you correct me if I'm wrong, but there's only 3 days a year that you can shoot your own fireworks. And 4th of July is one of those days. And so we usually get a big display and we shoot off fireworks for our employees. They bring their family. So we have a small little thing we do at our business, our auto repair shop.
In Jacksonville, I do agree there's the pier and different places you can do things. I think also if you go to the Jacksonville City website, they'll talk about the different fireworks places. Yep. And the council on tourism, Jacksonville Tourism Department, they can talk about the different locations. St. Augustine has the St. Augustine Pier. And again, you can look at the St. John's Tourism or the St. John's Government and see where some of the other locations are. But even in all of our areas, St. John's, Daytona, Flagler, Orlando, Tampa, Sarasota, all of them have great tourism, economic development departments. You can go on the website and see, and also city government, amazing fireworks. I even implore you, if you go to Orlando and watch them, you can be over an hour later into Tampa and you can see them there and see some wonderful fireworks. So with their delay in time that you see everything done, but it's just a great place to live, and the state of Florida exemplifies freedom, and it's done for many, many years, especially the last few years lately. Let's get out. Let's celebrate 4th of July. So, Dara, as a recap, you got faith, family, and freedom. How long do you think America is going to be able to keep this roll going?
For me personally, I truly believe that we are built on a foundation of faith. And so if, Greece, people say democracy has a time limit, but I don't think it does when it's built on a solid foundation. And that's what the word says. And so I feel like there's a strength that we have to continually believe that it's all happening for a reason. Everything will work together for our good, and we will be triumphant. And it's kind of that I won't lose mindset. And I know a lot of people don't like our president, and it's hard for a lot of those people. And my heart goes out to those people who are confused and scared and unsure about what's happening. But it goes back to the word, and the word tells us that just have faith. God puts those leaders there. He's there for a reason. And we just have to have that belief that we'll make it through it.
Putting it in priority, you got to have faith, which you said, then you got to have your family, and then you got to have your freedom. Yeah. Because without the first two, faith and family, there's nothing I want to be free to do right there. Freedom really doesn't matter. So it's just wonderful time. I want to thank my co-host, Jesse, for being on the show with me today. Jesse, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
Now, Jesse, what are you looking forward to on 4th of July the most? The food, the fireworks, or the fun?
Family.
The family? Yeah, but which part of it celebrating with your family? Food, fun, or fireworks?
Everything.
Everything. He can't pick. Dara, how about with you? Are you going to be like Jesse and be greedy and say, I want it all? What is the most important part?
I like the fireworks.
I do too. The fireworks are amazing, and seeing some of these great shows, all the other falls in, and it's so wonderful. But Dara, thank you for joining us. Tell our listeners, now I can't repeat enough of how great Dara does work and how great her stuff is that she does. Dara, tell our listeners how they could get in touch with you, and tell them a little bit about what Media Made Fresh does.
Okay, absolutely. Yes, if you want to get in touch with us, our contact information is mediamadefresh.com. That's the best way to do it. You can go on there and see all of the services that we offer. We are a full-service marketing, advertising, web development company. So we help people create websites. We help host their, technology, manage the technology. We do videos, Facebook ads, anything strategic planning, all of that stuff. I work with clients. We work with everything from doctors to lawyers to nonprofits to, people like Joe that have a personal brand and want to grow that brand and have different business interests that they weave that brand through. We work with, just any kind of business out there that really wants to help tell their story in a unique way. And do it in a good way.
Dara, I want to thank you for joining us, and I encourage the listeners to go to Media Made Fresh out of Jacksonville. You can find them on the internet, mediamadefresh.com. Great to have you, Dara. Join us. Great to have you, Jesse. We're looking forward to 4th of July because I know who you're spending it with, me. So looking forward, we're going to do it at the Hammock Beach this year, and it is such a beautiful place if you haven't been to go to Hammock Beach in Palm Coast, Florida. But remember, live, work, shop, play, and celebrate the 4th, our freedom, faith, family, and freedom. And one thing I want to do, and I know that from Media Made Fresh, from the Joe Mullins Show, from the Mullins Sports and Entertainment, and from all of our radio stationers, we want to thank all of the families out there in this beautiful nation, actually around the world, that are serving our military, that are fighting hard to keep our place the best place to live, work, shop, and play, and to be able to celebrate faith, family, and freedom. We want to thank those people, the ultimate sacrifice that have gone and fought and died, and the families that it's impacted, as well as the families that have people serving active duty and veterans that have served. We want to thank you for giving us the ability to celebrate our faith, our family, and our freedom. Looking forward to celebrate it this weekend. Everybody, I wish you a safe Independence Day for 2025, this 4th of July. Have a great weekend.